What's going on, everyone? This is Lior with Compass out of Boston. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the different neighborhoods of Boston that you can live in. So let's get at it. What's going on, everyone? This is Lior with Compass out of Boston. And in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the different neighborhoods and the different vibes they give in and around Boston. Now, before we get into it, two quick things. Number one, if you guys haven't already subscribed to my channel, smash that subscribe button. I put out tons of new videos every single week talking all it's like living in different parts of Boston, tips on buying, selling, investing, and so much more. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, smash that button. And number two, if you guys are thinking about doing anything with real estate around the greater Boston area, whether it's buying, selling, investing, whatever it is, I get so many calls from you guys watching my videos, and I absolutely love getting them. So if you're thinking about doing anything, hit me up on phone, email, text, Instagram, whatever it is, and I will help you out. So let's get into today's content. And the reason I decided to make this video is because obviously Boston's a pretty good sized city, and there's really many different neighborhoods within Boston, right? And when you're thinking about, hey, well, I want to buy a house, you don't always know exactly where you want to live, right? Especially since there's so many options. You're not always super sure what's the best for you. So what I thought I would do is I kind of give a quick overview of the different types of neighborhoods around Boston, kind of the different vibes they give off, and hopefully that'll kind of help you start pinpointing what is a better neighborhood for you, for your lifestyle, for what you're looking for, or even for investment purposes. So let's hop right in, and I'm going to start, and again, I'm not going to go through every single neighborhood. I'm just going to give you guys examples. So let's start with some of the downtown proper neighborhoods, and some of those downtown neighborhoods include areas like the North End. And if you haven't been to the North End, it is a very different neighborhood than the rest of Boston. It's got very tight streets. It's a very tourist heavy. It almost feels like a little bit of a European city, dare I say, Italian city. It's very Italian inspired. You've got tons of restaurants, tons of cafes. You got delis, but it's a very, very unique neighborhood. It's really unlike any other around the Boston area. Again, the tight streets, the buildings right on top of each other, it gives it a very, very different feel. The other neighborhoods in proper downtown Boston could be something like the Back Bay, which is kind of the crown jewel of Boston living. Back Bay can also be very tourist heavy, especially in the warmer weathers. You've got streets like Newbury Street, Boylston Street, which are obviously world famous. And if you walk down there during the summer, you'll hear people from all over the world, right? All different nationalities. But in terms of living there, it's definitely a little bit more of a city feel. It's definitely a very city feel as well. Nowhere near as crowded as the North End, and nowhere near as tight, but absolutely beautiful, right in the middle of Boston. You're close to the Boston Public Garden there. You're close to the T stops. Tons of restaurants, cafes. A lot of people work in the Back Bay. There's a lot of office space. So the Back Bay is definitely a little bit more unique, is much more unique than compared to other spots like the North End. Then you got other areas, even like Fenway, which has been redeveloped like crazy the last 5 to 10 years, like a lot of areas of Boston. Fenway's had a lot of new luxury construction come in, tons of new apartments, condos, a lot of new commercial construction. So you've got a ton of new restaurants, new cafes, bars, breweries, you name it. I mean, it's definitely got a little bit of a different feel than the other neighborhoods I talked about. It's you typically see you have a lot more younger professionals there. You do have some college students, depending on exactly where. You obviously got Fenway Park, so it's definitely a lot more of a hustle and bustle feel than maybe other parts of the city. But again, ton to do there. Overall. Now, in downtown Boston proper offers other neighborhoods that I'm not going to touch on in this video. You've got the South End, you've got Seaport, Leather District, West End, and a few others that I'm not going to talk about. The next kind of, if you look at Boston on the map, the next area I wanted to talk about was not necessarily downtown proper, but those neighborhoods that are just right outside. So that includes areas like Charlestown, which is one of my favorite neighborhoods around the Boston area. It definitely resembles a lot of the North End. It's kind of got a little bit of tighter streets, a lot of kind of brick buildings kind of on top of each other. But I'd say it's a lot more of a toned down version, not as big, nowhere near as busy as the North End. You won't see nearly as many tourists there. It is really nice though. It is a lot quieter. You obviously have the monument. You do have, you have the Naval Yard where you can go on the water, which is really nice. So that's Charlestown, kind of a little bit more toned down version of the North End, in my opinion. Other areas you can check out that, again, not necessarily downtown proper, would be South Boston, or Southie as it's known. In Southie, it's definitely got a lot of energy there. You've got a lot of very heavily developed over the last 5-10 years as well. Tons of commercial construction, tons of restaurants, cafes, bars. It's a very, very lively city. You'll definitely have a lot of it. If you live there, there's going to be a lot of energy everywhere. You do have a lot of young professionals living there as well, but as tons of families as well. But very, very energetic part of the city. If you like going out for drinks, going out to restaurants, this might be the spot for you. And the other neighborhood that I'm going to mention in this category is going to be East Boston, also sometimes called Eastie. Eastie is somewhat similar to Southie, where a lot of people think it is going to be the next Southie. It's a little bit more diverse right now. There's certainly certain parts of East Boston that are more developed than others, especially that area by the Maverick T-Stop or Jeffrey's Point is. If you go down there, you'll see, again, tons of new commercial construction, new luxury condos, apartments, restaurants, cafes. East Boston has other neighborhoods as well, Eagle Hill and Orient Heights, which are getting developed but are still a little further behind. So it makes it a little bit more of a diverse neighborhood, but it's another great alternative if you still want that city feel, but don't necessarily want to live right in downtown proper. And finally, I'd say the third category of neighborhoods in Boston that you might want to consider, I call them kind of the more outskirts neighborhoods. That includes areas like Jamaica Plain. If you haven't been to Jamaica Plain, it's a real, it kind of is a combination of city and suburb living. Really, really beautiful area. It's actually very hipstery as well. So there's tons of like independent restaurants, cafes, shops. If that's sort of your thing, you're going to absolutely love it. It's got a number of parks, a couple of really famous ponds, like Jamaica Pond, Leverett Pond. It's a great place to live. It's really fun. If you're looking for that less hustle and bustle feel, but still want to be within Boston and still pretty close to Boston, JP is the place for you. Another pretty similar place will be Brighton, Allston. In Brighton, Allston, again, they can vary and have different pockets. Allston tends to be a little bit more student heavy since Boston University is right there. But both of these areas are also kind of a combination, a little bit of city and a little bit of a suburb living. Definitely way less hustle and bustle than if you're going to live in downtown proper or in areas like Southie or Eastie. But it's still, there's still a good amount to do. There's a number of restaurants, cafes on the main streets. Still really fun, but it's a little bit of a toned down version than the rest of Boston. So if that's something you like, again, another great alternative. And finally, the last neighborhood I'd say, or neighborhoods I would say, are Dorchester, Roxbury. They can also vary depending on exactly where you're going to living at. Some parts of Dorchester are really close to South Boston and kind of have that vibe, similar really like city vibe. There's parts in the South like Lower Mills that are also starting to get a little bit more of a city/suburb feel. So depending on exactly which neighborhood you choose within Dorchester, so now we're getting with a neighborhood within a neighborhood, you can get different feels. But again, a lot of these areas will provide some sort of like more city, maybe a little city suburb feel to it. Still plenty of restaurants, shops, cafes on main streets. So it's just another great option if you're thinking about living in Boston. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas. If you're thinking about moving anywhere around Boston, still don't know where you want to live, hit me up. I get these questions every single time, every single day. I can't even talk. So I would love to help you figure it out, point you in the right direction of what could best suit you for your lifestyle and what you're looking for. So hopefully that helps, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions below.